Talk to Carrie Cole this morning from Indiana University of Pennsylvania. We're talking theater, we're talking dance, we're talking the start of the fall season. We don't want it to come along too fast, but you got to get ready. Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Oh, it's good to have you here in the studio with us. Kristen is always coming in and telling us about the various series that there are, and always on those series there are dance and theater performances, and I don't think a lot of people realize how talented the students and the faculty are at IUP, and B, how many of their performances there are that we can see, and a lot of times not only low cost, but no cost.
Right. And what I love is the fact that we're fully integrated into the amazing Lively Arts calendar that Kristen is putting the final touches on right now. I can't wait. I've had a sneak peek of some of what's coming in from across the U.S. and internationally, and it's going to be another fabulous season. But
I always try to pry that out of her, and she never.
Oh, ever. She's good. She's
she
good.
Seals that up. Oh, yeah. By golly.
Well, the only reason we get a little bit of insider information is because one of the things that Kristen really focuses on is integrating all of those amazing artists into the academic life of IUP.
Yeah.
So there's usually talkbacks and that kind of thing for the whole audience. But what your audiences may not know is that she tries to make sure that there are workshops and master classes, so these professional artists get to share their inspiration and their creativity with IUP students.
What a resource that is. Huh?
It's amazing.
Wow.
It's really amazing the caliber of things that we get into Indiana. Yeah.
This place.
It's early for me, yeah. Where am I?
When those artists come in, and even the big name artists, they all do something. People we might not have heard of, but we see their amazing talent and how they're able to use that talent and not only make a living, but make a difference in the arts community.
Absolutely. And it's great for our students and our faculty to be part of that national artistic conversation. And that's really how we approach putting together our season, to see what our students are interested in, how we can help prepare them for what's next for many of them.
Yeah. So your season, is it complete yet?
It is.
It is.
I want to kind of roll out a little bit more information about our fall shows than our spring shows right now, for the sake of time, because I'm super, super excited. When I talk about being part of a conversation, I think it's not just the artistic conversation, but it's the conversation we're having in our communities. And as we were putting together our shows for this fall, we realized we have two very different shows that give us an opportunity to talk about really relevant issues, particularly to our young students, but also across generations and having conversations across generations.
These are Theater by the Grove shows?
Theater by the Grove shows.
Okay.
And then I'll get to IUP Dance Theater, too, I promise, because that's another fall performance piece that I'm incredibly excited about.
Oh, good.
But our two shows for Theater by the Grove this fall are Actually by Anna Ziegler, which is a new play. It's part of our commitment to, again, a national conversation to increase the visibility and ability for American female playwrights to have their voices heard on our stages. And Anna Ziegler is a great, well-known amongst the theater community playwright. And she's written this play that it could be about a story on any college campus. And it's kind of an exploration of he said, she said.
Okay.
And looking at issues of what happens or what may happen on a Friday night in a university town, and how do we figure that out?
That is as topical as you could get.
Absolutely.
In this day and age.
Absolutely.
Because you think about the things that we hear of in the police reports. That's one thing, but that's probably just a tiny little fraction of what actually goes on a college campus.
Yeah.
Not this one, but anyone.
Yeah. It happens all across the country and internationally, too. We can't ignore that. One of the things that I really appreciate as we were talking with our students about what we were looking at for our season of shows, and we were talking about these two fall shows, they're the ones that identified that we're really excited about the fact that we get to have a semester-long conversation about sex, sexuality, and consent, because these are things that are really important to them.
Yeah.
Our second show of the fall for Theater by the Grove is a new adaptation of Frank Wiedekind's The Awakening of Spring.
Oh,
so we're looking at end of the 19th century play that was very radical for its time. It was actually first written in 1891, but not performed until 1906 because it was dealing with issues of young people making choices in a newly free society for them. So it's been censored on and off, but we're really excited to include our ensemble of amazing young actors in creating the language that makes sense to them and the stories that make sense to them within this original text.
So you brought it forward into today's day and age?
Not quite.
Oh.
We were thinking about that originally, and that's the great thing. My collaborator on this is also the director of the show, and I forget to say that as part of my background, I'm a dramaturg and a creator, and so I'm spearheading the adaptation of this, which is exciting and incredibly daunting. But working with Rob Greta, who's an amazing director, and we had originally talked about looking at it as a 21st century play. But then we started looking at how this is a conversation that comes up across generations. And there's something about the early 20s, since the play is written in Germany, and we decided to keep it in Germany. Okay. We were looking at that time between the two world wars, before the rise of Hitler and the Third Reich, and the devastation that World War I caused to particularly the young culture internationally, and the loss of young men and how they became so treasured. And the pressure that then puts on young people to be something for the older generation.
In America, we have this picture of the 20s as the Roaring 20s, the great decade, just after the war, before the Depression and the Second War, and it was just the 1920s were fun. That's because the war wasn't here.
Right.
In Europe, it's a different thing.
And at the same time, it's the idea that we think of it as fun, but that kind of push out of freedom usually has a lot more complexity than, flappers and pearls and rum running. So one of the reasons why we were looking at early 20s has to do with the immediacy of World War I, of still trying to figure out what that meant. But we also have the rise of the Paris art scene, so there is that freedom still there and not quite understood by everybody involved.
All right, so you're going to put that one together.
Yeah. And then we get, we're actually ending our fall season with the IUP Dance Theater, putting things a little out of order the way that we normally do. And Holly Boda Sutton is collaborating with her longtime collaborators in the Department of Music with new music around a themed piece called Stargazer, which is really astronomy-based. So we're looking at using dance to tell the story of who we are in this universe. And I'm really excited about that. She does an amazing amount of work throughout the season. There's a lot of people may not realize, while she does 2 performances for the public here, that company is always performing. They do the museum gala, they're part of that, and they've been presenting at conferences almost year-round. I think she takes a little time off in July.
Her time's coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's the only production of the fall for Dance
IUP
Theater.
Dance Theater. Yeah.
So. When you are putting together a season, or you're deciding upon a particular production, and you finally make that final step and commit to it.
Yeah.
Is there a moment where you take a breath and go, okay, that's done, or do you suddenly and instantly realize, Oh boy, did we just commit to putting ourselves through a lot of work.
It's a little bit of both because it's a long process for us. So we actually will have our first conversations about the 1920 the 2020-2021 season. I don't know why that doesn't come out of my mouth easily. We'll start having those conversations in September. Okay. So we're always working on our current season and our next season at the same time. We started our initial design conversations, I think in April. So while Rob was directing our production of Pippin this spring, he was also already in conversations with our design faculty and students. We've got 2 student designers in the costume design areas for these 2 fall shows. So. Yeah.
One of the interesting things to me about it all is that when you do decide upon a show and you're putting it together over the course of this summer, you're doing a lot of hard work on it, you really don't know who is going to be available to you, do you, in terms of a cast? We
actually tend to try to audition for our fall productions in the spring, giving our freshmen, our first-year students a chance to work in our student season, the Acorn Project, so that they can still have that experience, but that gives us the opportunity to have a little bit more sense, particularly because actually, while there's only a 2-member cast, we're putting that up about 2 weeks earlier than we would normally put up a production. So they'll actually launch in to rehearsals the week before classes start.
And of course, they get to spend their summer saying, "Can I do this?"
Right. They've got their scripts. They're looking over.
Yeah.
So
terrific. This sounds like a pretty exciting time.
Yeah, it really is.
There's no off season, is there?
There really isn't. Right now, the Footlight Players summer camp just started on Monday, and a lot of our students and faculty and alumni are involved with that. But we also have faculty and alumni and current students working all over the country this summer. So
that's terrific stuff. Terrific stuff. Yeah. Carrie Cole has been with us this morning. IUP Lively Arts is, as usual, lively. And you're getting set for your coming season. Thanks for coming in to visit with us this morning.
Thank you so much. If I can do one more quick plug, I just want to make people aware that our department has actually recently changed its name, acknowledging all of the work that we do interdisciplinary wise with our collaborators, particularly in nursing, but also criminology, and the work that we do to take theater into other disciplines. So we are now the Department of Theater, Dance, and Performance, acknowledging that not everything that happens on stage.
There you go. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Great. Thanks for coming in to tell us all about it.
Thanks so much.
We appreciate it. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS AM 1160, 101.1 FM.